It was supposed to be a simple shopping trip. Nothing dramatic, nothing dangerous, just one ordinary afternoon that would end a broken relationship peacefully. Instead, it became a fight for survival beneath the cold soil of a forest. This is the true story of Michelina Lewandowska, and how the man she trusted, loved, and built a family with tried to erase her forever. Marcin Kasperzak was just 19 years old, living in Poland, when his life changed in the most ordinary way imaginable. One day, while out buying groceries, he noticed a woman. Her name was Michelina. She was striking, confident, warm, effortlessly beautiful. Their eyes met, a brief moment that felt electric. Marcin gathered the courage to approach her, and to his surprise, the conversation flowed naturally. They laughed. They connected. What started as a chance encounter quickly turned into something intense and serious. They began dating, and their bond deepened fast. Felt real. Felt rare. So real, in fact, that they made a bold decision. Together, they packed up their lives and moved from Poland to England, chasing a fresh start and a future they believed in. For a while, it was everything they dreamed of. Marcin proposed with an expensive engagement ring, a symbol of commitment and devotion. Michelina said yes. They married, settled down, and built what looked like a stable, loving home. A few years later, Michelina became pregnant, and soon they welcomed a son into the world. From the outside, they were a perfect young family. Love, plans, and a future unfolding exactly as it should. But behind closed doors, something was changing. Marcin wasn't the same man anymore. He became obsessed with his body image and began spending excessive time at the gym. Soon, that obsession escalated into steroid use. And with it came a darker transformation. His personality shifted. He grew aggressive, short-tempered, unpredictable. Arguments became frequent and explosive. During fights, Marcin would trash the house, punch walls, throw objects. Violent outbursts that left Michelina frightened and emotionally drained. The man she once fell in love with now felt like a stranger. At the gym, Marcin started messaging other women, openly disrespecting his wife. He complained that Michelina was boring, that the attraction was gone. The relationship deteriorated rapidly. They barely spoke. When they did, it ended in shouting, destruction, and silence. Both of them knew it was over. Eventually, Michelina made a difficult decision. She told Marcin she planned to return to Poland with their 3-year-old son, where she would have family support and stability. To Michelina, it was the logical next step. To Marcin, it was unbearable. If Michelina moved back to Poland, she would likely gain full custody of their child. Marcin would remain in England, separated from his son by borders, distance, and courts. In his mind, that meant losing everything. And somewhere in that twisted thinking, a plan began to form. A plan not to let her leave. A plan to make sure she never could. One day, Marcin invited Michelina out for shopping. It seemed harmless, even hopeful. After months of coldness and hostility, his sudden attention felt different. Softer, almost like the man she once knew. Michelina allowed herself to believe maybe he had changed. Maybe this was a chance to end things peacefully. She got ready carefully, did her makeup, and before leaving, she put on the diamond engagement ring he had once given her. A quiet reminder of what they used to be. When Marcin arrived, he wasn't alone. He brought a friend, a muscular man named Pat. Michelina felt uneasy. This wasn't what she expected, but she brushed off the discomfort, not wanting to create tension. That was the moment everything went wrong. Suddenly, Marcin pulled out a stun gun. He smiled casually and told Michelina he just wanted to show her how it worked. Before she could react, Marcin pressed it against her neck. The voltage, between 290,000 and 300,000 volts, surged through her body. Michelina collapsed instantly, unconscious. But Marcin didn't stop. He shocked her multiple times, making sure she wouldn't wake up. Then he and Pat tied her hands and legs tightly with tape. Her helpless body was placed into a cardboard box, sealed, and loaded into their car. They drove toward a remote wooded area, far from houses, far from witnesses. There they dug a shallow grave. They lowered the box into the ground, placed a heavy 80-pound tree log on top to prevent escape, and covered everything with soil. Then they walked away, leaving her to die. About 1 hour later, Michelina woke up. Darkness, silence, pressure. She realized the truth instantly. She had been buried alive. For a moment, she stayed completely still, forcing herself to breathe quietly, terrified that Marchin or Pat might still be nearby. When she was sure they were gone, panic set in. But she fought it. She remembered something, the ring, still on her finger. Using the sharp edge of the diamond, she began sawing at the tape around her wrists, creating friction until it finally gave way. Slowly, painfully, she freed her hands, then her legs. She clawed at the cardboard, punching and scraping until a small tear formed. She kept going, fueled by fear and determination, until the hole was big enough to push her head through. Using every ounce of strength she had left, Michelina forced herself out of the grave, gasping for air, covered in dirt, trembling but alive. Disoriented and desperate, she heard music playing in the distance. She followed the sound, stumbling through the woods, until she reached a road. There, she stopped passing motorists and screamed for help, telling them she had been kidnapped and buried alive. The police were called immediately. An investigation began. It didn't take long to trace the crime back to Pat's house, where both men were arrested. Marchin Kasperzak was charged with attempted murder and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Pat, his accomplice, received 5 years for his role. Michelina survived the unthinkable, betrayed by the man she loved, nearly killed by the father of her child, and buried alive, only to escape using courage, memory, and a diamond ring that once symbolized love. This case stands as a chilling reminder. Sometimes the most dangerous monsters aren't strangers. They're the ones who once promised to love you forever. Was this real or a fiction?